Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry. Terry and Max are with me. And rejoice, Evertonians. Pickford just signed a contract. They had talked about it during the summer, around World Cup time. They said that Everton was working on a new contract for him. Well, yeah, it's official now. 6-year deal that's going to tie him to us until 2024, and it has no release clause. No release clause.
Get the reason.
So
that is just beautiful. No
it's
release
so
clause.
Good.
Get in.
Yeah, I was talking to my son about that, and I said, so this means basically he will stay with us for 6 years, or if somebody else, if another team wants to buy him, they have to pay us an absurd amount of money now, because 6 years is such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer that contracts don't necessarily mean anything, but you'd always want to see, I was talking about Pickford the other day, my mate. I believe he's a marketable asset after that World Cup.
Yep.
You look at his press conference when he was kind of, facing the media about his contract. He rightfully said, I've had an absolute whirlwind of a year, which he has. The kind of, off the back of that World Cup, all the players in that squad have kind of earned this sort of celebrity-like status following all the media attention that was on it, and he's certainly one of them that has. I'm absolutely made up that because listening to him, he seemed very intent on knuckling down, because what I thought was really interesting for him to just come out with it. He said, this contract's got me here till I'm 30, and to even say that, and he got asked, do you see yourself staying here till you're 30? He was like, well, it's what I'm going to do. It's what I've got to do. So he's just got the right attitude, hasn't he? He's a leader. Despite his age right now, he is a leader, and a leader that's going to be there in the dressing room for years to come. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, contracts, you can take the cynical view and say they don't really mean anything. They don't mean what they used to mean. They don't mean like a player's safe from transfer and whatnot, but they're sort of good indicators of intent by each club. So you're tying down what you basically, that this is Everton saying to the player and to the supporters and to the world. They see Pickford as one of our key sort of pillars for building the squad. So they've sort of wrapped him up for this contract to say he's our guy. He's going to be one of the cornerstones of this team, and this is how highly we rate him. We've got him here for another 6 years. No release clause. We don't have any intention of selling him. Can happen to anyone, but it just shows we are obviously presenting a plan and a vision to Pickford to make him want to sign for that long, and making him believe that it's where the club to be at. And we're also protecting effectively after that World Cup, our most high-profile player. I mean, we've got some high-profile players in their part of the world, so Yerry Mina in Colombia and Tosin in Turkey. But overall, it was Rooney last year, obviously, but now I think the most identifiable Everton player currently anywhere would be Jordan Pickford, because of how big he became after the back of that World Cup. So I just think it's very clever from the club, and it's encouraging signs that we're not just looking to plod along like we have done in the past. We're looking to draw the line under this, selling your best players to the bigger clubs. No, 6-year deal, no release clause. If you want them, you're going to have to make us really, you're going to have to make us an offer we can't refuse.
Yeah, we will be reimbursed handsomely if that happens. I think there's a respect for the club there from Pickford. That's a tremendous respect for the club. That doesn't, a lot of people when he came to us were saying, boyhood Sunderland supporter, that's his club. He's all about that club. And some people were really hurt, and they were saying he's just using you as a stepping stone. If he is, he's showing us a lot of respect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's awesome.
Well, look how he conducts himself. He seems a very headstrong young man. He seems very intent on having the best career that he possibly can, and he obviously knows. If you're at a club, you have to have that respect for it. You can't if you look at the incident that exists at Man United now currently between the Pogba, Mourinho, Manchester United, they're like three entirely separate entities, whereas Pickford You know, as I said, I'll keep referring back to the press conference, but he speaks on behalf of the club. We need to do this. We need to do that. We have this long-term ambition for the future. And as a supporter, it really gratifies you to know, particularly your goalkeeper, someone that, every good side has a good player in between the sticks. And I think we've certainly got that. And as Terry said, if he can be the cornerstone, and that Everton number one always for this long duration of time, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I like his forthrightness. The fact that he just kind of says what he's thinking, that get the rave on thing is kind of indicative of that. It shows that he's just like, yeah, this is who I am, and that's cool, and it's fine, and I'm just going to show it to you, and it's the way it is. And I like that. There's not a lot of, we don't really have to dig very deep with Pickford through the layers. It's like he's just like, meh, this is who I am. Yeah. Deal with it. But there's something very honest and truthful about that, and I think his mindset approaching things like that also helps him on the field. He's not overthinking things.
Definitely, he's a leader, isn't he? How many times he gives centre halves a bollocking?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when we first got him, and in the early European games, and he ran up through his box after a corner, and Rooney didn't close down one of the players on the edge, and he absolutely leathered Rooney, verbally, lashed him, and I was like, that's unbelievable. He's a young keeper, young kid, and he's telling the most high-profile senior player in the team to get his act together, and I was like, I like that. That no one, not in awe of the bigger name, and that's a proper leader. That's a proper personality in the team.
Yeah, there's a negative way to view this, but lest I catch Max's wagging finger, I will not ask whether or not he's going to be here in 3 years' time, because I think that's a negative question. However, maybe let's take a more positive spin. When it's all said and done, will we consider Pickford one of our greatest keepers? All right, that's what I'm curious about. And I think a lot of that will have to do with, does he decide to stay here for a while? But we'll see. Max, you look like you want to speak on that.
Usually I'd shoot you down straight away for making such an absurd statement. But I think it is entirely possible, because
not totally absurd. No, I like it. I was born, see, that's why I asked the question.
I was born in 1998, so I didn't exactly see Neville House Southall in his heyday.
Right.
But you see these similarities, and when you see clips of Neville Southall, and when you see Jordan Pickford, the ability to fling yourself across goal the way they do, making these tremendous acrobatic saves. And obviously we had Tim Howard as well, who had a tendency to pull off really great saves at times, and despite things souring towards the end of his Everton career, was absolutely brilliant. Taking a step back and looking at his Everton career as a whole, but entirely, there is a possibility that he can become an Everton legend if we win something. I'm a strong believer that no one's ever a legend at this club unless they win something.
I was going to ask about that, because is it going to take us actually having some success, getting into, winning some silverware, getting into top four, actually, is that what it takes? Is that part of the criteria?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Tim Cahill and Mikel Arteta, and I saw someone tagging Lee Carsley with the same brush, they're not Everton legends. They're heroes, more like, my heroes growing up, but I wouldn't classify them as legends.
Yeah, modern heroes is two sort of definitions, really, isn't there? Legends are the cup winners, the league winners. A couple of years ago, we had a 25th anniversary kit of the 1985 season, and they had the 11 in the back of the kit, just where you'd see the sizes. Usually, they had the lineup from when we won the European Cup Winners' Cup. You'd never see the season we finished fourths line up in 20 years, would you? So there's a very clear line. It's silverware. It's got to be.
So it's possible we can end up with a talented player in Pickford, but if we don't actually pay that off, he'll be remembered, but perhaps in a way that Tim Howard was.
Yeah, but I think it's an entire possibility that Jordan Pickford could definitely be a league winning goalkeeper or a cup winning goalkeeper. Everton, as Terry touched on there earlier, we are showing these clear statements of intent that we do want to challenge for honours, but we've got to facilitate that for the players like Pickford, for the players that are very, very good. These players that we might lose to the big six or other European clubs with a bit more financial boost to them. Everton as a club, I do believe we are going in the right direction of facilitating these top players and providing them with what they want. But we've got to start getting consistent European football again, and we haven't won anything since I've been alive and since 1995, which I do think is an absolute joke. But we're getting closer. I do feel
that. We're in at least 3 cups every year, though, and Pickford's got 6 years of that, so that's the plan.
Yeah.
Got a lot of attempts.
Yeah, I think we keep improving. We continue to give him reasons to stay, because with the money that is in this club now, and with the direction it's going in terms of new stadium and everything, it's a really exciting time if we can get our results handled. Mm-hmm. That right there is the big thing. And I'm hoping that our marketing gets better and the business side of things get better too, but we'll just see. All right, guys. So, if I'll pretend there's a bunch of beer in here and say, here's to Pickford, 6 years. Let's do this. Yep. Max is drinking some unidentifiable liquid.
Yeah, some green shite.
But yeah, indeed, this is exciting, and I was pretty psyched. I was worried that it took this long since the rumors started in the summer. I was worried it was like a Lukaku type of situation, but yeah, now this is cool. So anyway, so guys, let's. I guess that's it for our Pickford contract. He signed one. It's wonderful. If you've been digging the videos, please subscribe. We're about 1,200 subs deep for our account, so thanks for if you subscribe, thanks for that. And if you haven't, please subscribe to us. We'd appreciate it. You can find Terry on the Liverpool Echo fan jury, and whenever that crops up, he'll put it on his timeline on Twitter, and so check that out. Max, you can find Max on the Toffee Blues website. He always has analysis on there, and who knows, he may pop on a different podcast or a different website. Check his Twitter for that as well. All right, guys, we're going to go over and do a pod exclusive, so if you want to watch the trivia, if you know your history between Max and Terry, check out our podcast. If not, we'll talk to you later. Bye.